All right, everybody. Well, hey, hope your Monday morning is going well. Hope you had a wonderful weekend. We will get started here right now for everybody. Give everybody a chance for the last second registrants for it. We had over 200 people register for the call, so phone lines are filling up here, or I guess you'd say webinar lines are filling up there. So wanted to look at everybody here. Just want to say good morning. Hey, Steve, how's it going? Bob, Brian, Anthony, Clint, good to see you guys. Donna, nice. Gary, Jack, Jay, Jeff. Hey, good to see you, Jeff. Jim, Johnny, all right. Kathy, Karen, good. Ken, Mahmood. All right. Tina, Terry, hey. Warren, Vance, Tracy, Todd, all good to see you guys up there as well. So, glad to have you guys on the call here. We will get rocking into this call here. As always, they are recorded, and I have hit the recording button on this. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you watch this or when you download it. So it will be uploaded to YouTube here this afternoon. It's just roughly right after we finish. Gives a chance to do its magic and then upload it, so it takes a little while, but it'll be available as well for you to download. Now, I wanted to go through some things here briefly with you all. To get kind of rock and rolling. Yes, that's my smiling face. If this is your first time on the call, we have a variety of people on the call. We have new real estate investors that are looking to get into it. We also have some of my coaching students and people have come to my note buying for Dummies Workshop out there. As I said before, this recorded and uploaded to YouTube. So if you want to get a chance, either going to like my page on Facebook, subscribe to my YouTube channel, or connect with me on LinkedIn. Those are probably the best three ways to follow what's going on in the world of notes and with Inverse Investments and WeCloseNotes.com. So best ways to do it, the easiest way to track me, because I always put different content on there besides just the deals that I'm working on or the events that are going on out there for you to attend and things like that. So quick little reminder, if you are looking for some note deals, please go to NoteMatchmaker.com and register there. Ask you for your top 5 states that you like to invest in. We are putting the final touches on this website to start getting deals and notes blasted out to you. So go to NoteMatchmaker.com, register there, and we'll make sure and get you some deals sent out to you. So quick little reminder here, we are literally just over a week out from, actually about a week and a half, from my Baltimore Note Buying for Dummies Workshop, February 6th to the 9th. It's Thursday through Sunday. We'll get started at 9 o'clock each day, wrap each day up about 5, except on Sunday when we'll wrap up about 3 o'clock. It's at Baltimore, Maryland, as I said before. I'm still running a 2-for-1 special at $7.99. If you'd like to come, bring your spouse, bring a business partner, bring a bum on the street, somebody along with you for that. It is taking place at the Holiday Inn Inner Harbor. So Holiday Inn Inner Harbor there. It's a nice location. You can reserve your seats at WeCloseNotes.com under the training tab. Whoops. Escape back after that. Go back. So that's what the hotel looks like there. I think rooms are still pretty cheap, but it's going to be, we're going to be right at 50, 60 investors out there. So it's going to be a very busy workshop. I'm excited for some of the things we have going on there. Hedge fund guys, servicing deals that are coming to the table as well. Mahmood, that's a great question. Mahmood asked the next question. For those that are part of the mastermind, the next mastermind meeting is going to be at the Holiday Inn Miami Beach, actually. So I'll be sending an email out regarding that to the mastermind students, Mahmoud. But thanks for the question on that. All righty. For those that are part of the mastermind and the coaching. So, all right, upcoming events on that. Whoops, hang on here. Let's dive into the exit strategies. Before I do this, if you do have questions, please keep your questions relevant to what's going on the screen right now. There'll be a time later on in the webinar for you all to ask any type of questions you want. It doesn't matter what it is. But right now, keep your questions relevant to what's going on the screen. Also, if you have comments, if it's not a question or anything like that, or something you want to add to it, please just leave that off right now. All right? Just makes it a little bit easier. But whenever you're buying notes is so much different than buying REOs or just pure wholesaling or trying to negotiate a short sale. They've got so many different ways of making money on them, okay? And whenever you get a list of notes in, you besides just looking to see if the property's in good condition or what the value is, you have to know what your exit strategy is, and that also depends on what you're buying the notes at. Okay? Well, a variety of different things. So the question is, what are you or what am I going to do with this deal? What's the best way for me to make money on this? And with notes, you've definitely got a different exit strategies. It's not all going to fall into the same aspect. Okay? A couple of things that I like to do. Hey, one thing is if it's owner-occupied, it's fine, or if it's occupied, I'm fine with that. I know that it's probably got to be in pretty decent condition inside. Okay? That means the copper's there, the plumbing's there, all the electrical wires there. All right? That's one of the things that I like to do, and I don't mind owner-occupied properties. I actually like that better than vacant properties for the most part. Okay? But when you are looking at a deal and when you've got your pricing down, what am I going to do with it? Well, are you going to wholesale the note for a quick fee to somebody else, let them deal with it? Are you going to modify the loan to the borrower and keep them in it? If they're worthy of it, do they have some skin in the game to put into it? You're going to allow them to, if they have somebody to do a loan assumption. Most people forget about this exit strategy. Okay? You being the bank, when you buy the note, you can allow somebody to assume that loan. It's actually a pretty easy process to do. What's nice is, hey, now instead of just having one borrower or a husband and wife, they let somebody to assume it, all 3 or 4 people are on the hook for it now. Okay? Of course, are you going to do a deed in lieu, a friendly foreclosure, and let the homeowners walk? Are you going to foreclose on the property? Do you have to go foreclose on it? Okay? And once you foreclose it, what are you going to do with it at that point? Are you going to sell it as an REO or keep it as a rental? So these are all questions about what to do with the property. Also on there, would you allow the homeowner to do a short sale? You could do that as well. Okay? That's also something to think if it's occupied. Okay? So you have a variety of different exit strategies out there. Does this make sense so far? Any questions so far regarding the different exit strategies right now? All right. So, question here. Who asked the question? Let's see here. No questions then. All right, just yes. Oh, let me decline that. All right. Since there are no questions regarding that, what I wanted to do, oh, come on, is I wanted to feature 5 properties that 5 notes. These are actually 5 first lien non-performing notes that I own that I'm looking to sell. And what I want to do is go through basically the spreadsheet that I put together on the different strategies. So it gives you an idea to see the numbers behind the actual properties. Is that okay, everybody? Ronald, great question. DIL stands for deed in lieu. A deed in lieu of foreclosure. Basically, the homeowner deeds the property over to you, or the borrower deeds the property back to you, being the bank, and then it's an REO for you. Okay? Great question. All right. So the first one, I've got recent BPOs on these properties, which is nice, and willing to sell these. I'll actually show you the numbers of what we paid for these things at, so you can see. So the first basically property is a property in Miami. It's a 2-bedroom, 1-bath house there. There actually is somebody living in this one, about 1,300 square feet. I'll get to the values on these in it shortly. Second one is a property in Labelle, Florida, not too far from water. 3-bedroom, 2-bath. As you can see, this picture was just taken a couple days ago. The sun was setting. It is occupied. And the other one is a property in Beverly Hills, Florida. This is another 2-bedroom, 1-bath house in Beverly Hills. What's great about all these properties, these ones that I'm showing you, hey, either the values are going up, the depreciation is going up, or it's holding still. Okay? It's staying still. Okay? Question. Thank you, Jack. Jack just make this simple. Deed in lieu does not clean the title. Need to check title to be sure there's no other liens. That's correct, Jack. And deed in lieu, you would definitely want to check title to make sure there's no second liens on the property, no other liens out there. You're going to want to check title and see what's available as well. I mean, a lot of things can be wiped out with foreclosure. A deed in lieu, give me that. Brian asked a question, occupied tenants or owners. I believe these are all owner-occupied. Okay? All right. And they're all being serviced currently by Land Home Financial as well. All right. So that's the third one, Beverly Hills, Florida. Here's this townhome/condo in Pensacola, Florida. Spanish Trail. This is not far from the water, actually. pretty close to the water. And then you have this property in Houston, Texas. Okay, little 3-2. And picture's taken January 25th. All right, lawn mowed, all good stuff. So basically, what I want to dive into now, is we'll pull the spreadsheet here. I'm going to show you exactly, walk you through that and the formulas we've gone into that. So let me opt out of it here and pull this up here. No, I don't want that. Nope. All right. So here's the spreadsheet that I have here. Hope everybody can see this. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through each line item here so you can see what goes on. So what we have over here is the loan ID number that I have for internal loan number, the borrower's last name, the full property address, okay, city, state, zip, it's a first lien, the current unpaid principal balance, okay. Now that does not include, it's not the payoff amount. Payoff would be quite a bit higher, okay, quite a bit higher, all right. Question? Steve asked the question here. I was told that under the new Dodd-Frank bill, if we restructure the loan, we are then responsible for the new income verification part of the law for 3 years. Speaker assumed that lawyers will have a field day with nuisance suits. Any comments? First time on your webinar. Thanks. Well, Steve, that's one of the things we get to when we talk about loan mod. So we'll get into that here in a minute. Good question. Great to be glad to have you, Steve. Glad first time caller. All right. So the current unpaid balance, that's just unpaid principal balance. That doesn't include attorney's fees, late payments, all that good stuff. All right. Does not include all that stuff. Next column on here is literally what I paid for the loans. Okay. 25, 24, 20, 24, 27. In total for these 5 loans, with a current unpaid balance of $366,000, it's $120,000. Okay. For those that are looking, that basically accumulates to roughly, what did I pay off the UPB for that? I paid less than 33 cents on the dollar for that. So I paid almost 32 cents on the dollar for this non-paid performing notes. Okay. All right. Now, what I also did is I figured current value. These are off the BPOs. Okay. So on BPOs, all these together are almost 306,000. What did I pay for these off of BPO? Everybody's always asking pricing. Oops, I suppose it helps to have a percentage amount in that one. 39 cents on the dollar. Okay, most of these are Florida. You get that one in Texas. All right. Okay. Now, what I also did is, assuming if you're looking to wholesale, one of the first things I look at is looking to wholesale. Steve asked the question, Steve, where did the BPOs come from? The BPOs came from Valuation Visions. Okay. I actually have the BPOs pulled up here for different ones. The different drive-by BPOs. They're not full interior inspection reports. They're pulled off of comps. Okay. BPO Pro Valuation Vision, the company that I use. And it actually got notes. You can see values increasing on that one, stable on that one, in Labelle, stable in Miami, and the one in Texas, actually one here in, this is Texas, Houston staying stable. Okay. All right, so back to the webinar here. Whoops. All right. Oh, come on. All right, so Steve, yeah, they were all pulled with Valuation Visioner, which is a BPO company out of California that does stuff all across the country. Great company to deal with. If you're looking for AVMs, they can get you AVMs, which is just a quick valuation of the property, high-end stuff, very, very quickly. So big. It's a company I'm pretty happy with. So anyway, if you're looking to wholesale, most of the time when you're wholesaling, I like to say, okay, I can probably wholesale it somewhere around 50 to 60% of value. So if I was looking to wholesale really fast, these across the board, I'd be looking at 55% of value. Now, the 55% of value here is right here in this column here. So if I was into this at 25, I'd try to flip the wholesale list for 42. Okay, 55% of value in that one. This one at 31, I'd be making in about $7 grand on that one. Okay, $2 grand on this one. 18 grand on that one. Less than $2 grand on that one. All in total, I'd be looking to sell the whole thing right now at 168,000. If somebody's interested in buying these, hey, I'd move them all to 168,000. Okay. Yes, Dave, I am looking. Jason, no, I don't want you to broker these out. If you're interested in buying, I want to deal with buyers only. I don't want a broker chain. Okay. If you do have a direct buyer, some of you know, let me know. But yeah, no, I want to sell these. I don't want a long daisy chain on these. Okay. I am looking to sell these. All right, and I want to sell them at 168. All right. Okay, we'll get to that later on. But let's focus on the exit strategies. That's it. Okay. So if you were into these at 120, you could feasibly move these at about 55% of value. Some make a little bit more, some make a little bit less. It just depends on the value. The reason I don't want to go above 55% for the most part is I want to leave plenty of meat on the bone for the investor in the back end. And that's what a lot of people don't realize. Okay, I see this a lot of times, especially with brokers. Oh, we want to sell at this. Well, Jesus, what's the repairs need? What's the servicing? What's the foreclosure costs? Okay, what are taxes owed on this? Okay. Wholesaling. On wholesaling, do you take possession of collateral files? Bob asks. No, when you wholesale, you're basically selling these things off. Okay. All right. Now, if you own the notes and you just sell the notes, it's a different thing. But let's assume that I didn't own these, and the seller wanted 120 for them. I could probably wholesale these at 168. Well, I'm the owner of these now. I literally own these 5 notes. Okay. I have all the collateral files. I have all the assignments. I have all the allonges for that stuff. Okay. But in wholesaling, no, you don't take possession. Wholesaling, you're just like a broker. You're just kind of a connector. Okay. All right. So when I think about this, I know I'm into these. Okay, 120,000 values are around 305, 306, about 40 cents a dollar. I can try to wholesale for 15% roughly. Okay. Some it's going to be skinnier than the rest, obviously. Okay. All right. So what I also want to do is, well, does it make more sense for you to buy these and hold these for a period of time? Okay. So let's figure this. Let me show you if I'm buying it, I sell these at 120, 168. So let's do this. Let's do is equal to that minus come on. What is wrong with my phone? Come on. Well, I'd make about a 30% return wholesaling these things, selling these off at 55% because you figure in 48 grand brought in 120,000, that's over 30%. Okay, that's not bad. Well, does it make more sense though for me to keep them and rent them out, or do a loan mod? Okay. How long do you own these before you flip them? Gary, it's a variety of different things. It's all dependent on what you want to do. All right. I have an investor on these that help fund these things with me, and he's looking to get cashed out. Okay. We've been cherry pick. If you cherry pick it, you can cherry pick these if you want, Dave. I'd rather sell them as a package. So if somebody wants to cherry pick, that will be a backup to somebody buying the whole pool. Okay. All right. So what I did is I went to Rent-A-Meter and figured out what rents are on these. So it's $1,100 a month for the 2-bedroom in Miami, $800 a month for Labelle, Florida, $600 a month for Beverly Hills in Florida, $900 a month for Pensacola, and $875 a month for Houston, Texas. Okay. So if you take the annual rents, it's just basically Rent-A-Meter times 12. Okay. Then I started adding in my servicing costs. Well, if I got to take into a rental, I'd have to foreclose out. Maybe get a deed in lieu, but let's just assume I have to foreclose out. All right. So my servicing costs are going to cost me about $1,500 for the year, and it's going to cost me around at least $3 grand on the Florida stuff to foreclose, or $1,500 in Texas because it's a little bit faster. Okay. So all in all, I've got $13,500 in attorney fees, and another $7,500 in servicing and attorney fees. So right at $21,000 in costs. Okay. So that's why my total cost, if I were to sell these or if somebody was to buy these at 55%, plus the servicing and attorney's fees, here's what their total costs are for that deal. Okay? Now, if they turn it into a rental, this is not including any repairs. If I'm not just figuring repairs would be minimal. Rental, you don't have to go up and do the thing. You can maybe even keep somebody in it right now if you want to. But if you're renting it at market rent, if you took your annual rent divided by what your costs are, here's what our return on investment is to keep it as a rental. Okay? 27%, 26, 27, just under 23, 33%. On average, these 5 would be a 27% gross return for you. Okay? Does everybody understand it before I go to the next route? If you don't understand it, that's fine. Just let me know what you don't understand. I'll go back to it. This is assuming you buy these notes at 55%, you foreclose on in about a year. So you've got your costs to buy the notes at 55%, plus your servicing fees and your attorney fees. Okay? No repairs are figured into this right now. Neither are taxes right now. Okay? That's gross. Yes, Steve. I think you're being humorous there. That doesn't include any management fees. Gross, I mean by that is you want to vomit. But that's basically gross. You rent. All right, ROI. Steve asked the question, servicing costs more than $100 per month. No, I always throw that in there. You're going to have some different fees where it's going to have, maybe it's cost $400 to do a deed and loan that you may do at loan price. So I'm just throwing $1,500 there, figuring for a year. You may be less than that. But there's always miscellaneous fees. You guys are just other things. So it's a good thing just to throw in $1,500 on the high end. Okay? Does that make sense? All right. I think everybody, are we okay? Derek asked a question. Yes, I'll post. If you want the spreadsheet, I'll post down there. Mahmoud, how do I figure the rent? All right. Mahmoud, as I just said earlier, I took the annual rents right here and divide that by your total cost, which is the cost for the note plus the servicing fees and the attorney fees. So if you take $42,000 plus $4,500, that comes to $47,400 there. And if you take $13,200 and divide that by $47,400, that's where you get the rent ROI. That makes sense? Mahmoud, you're a busy guy. Don't worry about it. I spaced for a couple minutes. No problem, buddy. All right. So let's go to the next step. So let's say you take it to foreclosure, though, and you need to compare rent versus selling it as an REO. All right? Rent's probably your worst case. All right? Well, let's assume and just bear with me. Let's assume you get these. The market value is what it is, even though the value is appreciating in most of these markets. And you sell it, and you net 85% of value, okay? So let's say you've got to maybe do 5-10% repairs. You've also got 6% in realtor fees. Let's say you net 85% of the value now, okay? So current value on this Miami one, 78. You were to net 66,300, okay? Now, if you take your gross profits of what your total costs are, you'll see that you made gross profits of $18,900 in that first one, $12,870 on the second one, $7,500 on the third, $18,900 on the fourth, and then $12,000 on the Houston one. Okay, and then if you compare what you made in profit divided by your total costs, you'll see that, hey, if you sold it as REOs, you'd be making an average of 37% on these. Okay? Does that make sense, everybody? Once again, assuming 85% of current market value. Now, if you did repairs to that it may increase the value of the property, good for you. That's fine. What doesn't make sense about that, Terry? So, yep, not a problem. Glad to do that. All right. So if we go back here, and our assumptions are, we know the values here. Okay? We know for you to buy and then foreclose, your total costs are right here. Okay? So you're into these properties for $189,000 foreclosure costs, servicing fees. Okay? Now, if you sell it listed in the market, and you basically after what repairs need to be done, any realtor fees, you net 85% of value. Okay? That's what's in the bottom line of your HUD-1. That you're selling as an REO, and you're going to net, bottom says $66,000 is going to be going back to the seller. Okay? Well, you're into the property for $47,400. After realtors fees, all that stuff, you're getting $66,000. That means you made $18,900 on it. If you take the $18,900 and divide that by your total costs, that comes to a 40% return on an investment for that one deal. 35 for that one, 28 for the third, 40 for the last two, a total basically average of 37%. Okay? Dave asked the question, REO, ROI without repairs. We're figuring 85%. So if you had some repairs, maybe you got to put 5% in repairs. Okay? Paint, carpet. All right? You'll realize that somebody's living in these. There's going to be a lot of massive repairs done to it, hopefully. Okay? Maybe you list it as is a discount. Include the repairs to be made. Done it. Okay? Make sense, Dave? Everybody understand this so far? Okay? So as you see right now, if you were buying these, if you were buying them at 120, like your goal would be to, your most profits, if you could get them at 55%, would be to sell them at 55% really fast. Okay? If not, then hey, basically, if worst case, if you sell them, list them, foreclose them, and sell them as REO, you sell them as an REO, make some money. If they're not going to sell, and you keep them as a rental thing, here's where you go. All right? Right. Gary says, ask the question, your rent ROI would be recurring and passively going forward, but you would need to churn and burn. That's correct, Gary. If you kept these as a rental, that's what they return to you on an annual basis, okay? As a rental. Selling it would be if you sell them as REO, it's a one-time thing. You make that money, you got to turn and find some other stuff. Actually, no, Mahmood. That's why I said that. Mahmood, obviously commissions and other closing costs were not considered in your gross profit figures. No, my gross profits, that's why we're listed at 85%. Assuming we're netting 85%. If you add 6% in commissions, that's at 91%. All right, that gives you 9% for other fees and any types of rehabs you might need. Okay? So I did consider in the repairs on that and commissions. That's why we said netting 85%. Okay? By REO, you mean foreclose and resell, retail, or they sell for that at courthouse. Todd, that's a great question. Do you have the right to sell these at the foreclosure auction? Yeah. Let's say you sell it at 85% of value. That's your opening bid at the foreclosure auction. You could do that. All right? You could do that. That would be really nice. You'd probably get quite a few people to buy on that. Okay? All right. Let's see. Let's look here. See, yeah. UPB on this first one it says 50, but I guarantee you the back payments are over 66. 81 on the current UPB on this one. It'd probably be close. Yeah, over 50, definitely. Definitely over that one. Definitely on the fourth, and definitely on the fifth. You could definitely sell these all probably at the foreclosure auction because the UPB and rearages is way over what you'd be listing them at. So good point, Todd. You could sell these straight at the foreclosure auction, and these be your opening bids. Okay? And that would do away with having to get repairs and pay commissions. Maybe listed at 90% to take care of any other fees, recording things, and stuff like that. Okay? That's a great point. Most people forget that you can sell these things at the foreclosure auction. You, being the bank, once you own the note, have the right to list the property for what you want to list it for. Okay? So, we've covered if you wholesaled them, 55%. You got a rent ROI. We will also discover as a rental, selling as an REO, and gross profits. Does everybody understand those so far? Okay. Now, the next strategy you want to get into, but it's the second line down here, is what happens if you did a loan modification. Okay. Now, several funds and several investors I know, when they buy notes, they send letters out immediately to the borrowers and say, hey, we will do a loan modification for you. We'll drop your principal balance down to what's the property worth. Okay. And most of the time they want them to bring skin to the game, which is what I like to do when we do loan mods, unless they qualify for hardship funds. But let's just assume they don't qualify for hardship funds. And actually they don't, because this is Florida and Texas stuff. All right. So let's assume that you're willing to drop, you being the investor, are willing to drop the properties down and do a modification where you drop the principal balance down to the value of the property. You take what's owed, everything like that, you want to do a modification, okay, to the value of the property. So basically, if you redid the loan or did a deferment or whatever, the value here is what you're writing the loan for, okay? Now, one thing I always request of my borrowers, if I'm doing a loan mod, is for them to bring some skin in the game. I want them to bring at least $5,000 down. That does not go towards the value here. That $5,000 helps cover, their wink, wink costs. All right. Now, if they don't have the $5,000 to put down, what do they have? Do they have $2,500? Most people can get $2,500 from their family. All right, or pawn some stuff off. Okay, that big screen that they bought for $1,000, they can pawn it off for $500. Okay. All right, and then I'll take whatever I want to at least get $2,000 as a down payment, and then take the other $2,000 to $3,000 and spread that over the payments of the next year. Maybe it's 5 months. Maybe it's 10 months. The idea is to figure out what they're doing, okay? Because if you look at this, if you did an 8% loan mod, their interest-only payment, and I only do interest-only loans, okay? Interest-only. I don't do principal and interest, okay? Their payment, and somebody talked about the Dodd-Frank Act, about having to be able to afford it. Well, if they did a mod, their payment is still a lot cheaper. I'm not including taxes or insurance on here. It's still cheaper than what rent would cost them. Okay? You are not going to do a loan modification yourself. You're going to have your servicer or an attorney help you write that stuff up. Okay? Don't be doing it yourself. Okay? So anyway, let's assume this. Okay, you're into it. Since you're doing a loan mod, if you do it right off the board, you're not going to incur a lot of these other costs. All right? So you're still into it. Your cost basis is right here. All right? If you paid 55%, that's what I'm selling these loans at. Whoops. All right. Come on. I don't know why my Excel's so slow. So if you did 8% loan mod on these, on a value 78 here, this is what their annual payments would be. $62.40, $46.32, $3,200, $62.40, $41.60. All right. Divided by 12 months, this is what it breaks down. Interest-only payments are this. Interest-only payments would accumulate to here, $2,039 a month. Okay, with those 5 questions. Derek, I'll send the spreadsheet out if you want. You got to email me for it. Okay. All I'm doing is simply taking, to figure this, is taking, get this, is equal to 78,000 times 0.08. Okay, simple algebra. 78,000 times 0.08, and then to figure in this, that's annualized, divide 6240 times 12, you get 520. Okay, so if you take what your payments are coming in, all right, take what your annualized mortgage payments coming in, come to 24,000. Divide that by what you paid for these notes at 168. That would equate to a 15% cash-on-cash return for loan mods. Okay. Now, if you add in the other 5,000, you'd get over the first year. That's either $2,500 down, $5,000 down, or $2,500 down, and the other $2,500 spread over 5 or 10 months. That would equate the first year return on this to be right at 29%. This is where if you get the down payment and loan mods, it's good to keep these for 12 months, get them to reperform, and then, hey, sell them off as a performing loan to somebody at 15% if you want to. Or you could also, what's another aspect is after a year or 3 months of making on-time payments, of ledgered payments, you could get them to go do a 1023 loan, a 1023P loan, which is an FHA refinance. Okay? Mahmoud asked the question, the payments are assuming interest only. Yes, payments are assuming interest only. It makes it easier to figure out, but yeah. All right? You got to realize, we start doing principal and interest, their payments go a little bit more each month on the payments, or if you do P&I versus just interest only. So this is the cheapest payment they could have. Okay? I'm not going to stair step them off at 1%, 2%, 3%, 4%. Most banks will do that, but they keep the current UPB what it is, or what's owed. I'm not doing that. I want to be straight to the point. Listen, if you bring $5,000 down, we'll drop it to this and start making your payments. Okay? Or do a deferment. If you make payments on time based on this, after 12 months, we'll drop everything to this. Okay? The reason I'm going to do 5% or 3% or 4% is I want them to still hurt a little bit. I want them to be incentivized to either A, refinance me out, or B, just keep making their payments to me. I want it to make sense for me. Okay? It's not all about them. But this stuff is still affordable for them. Does that make sense, everybody? What questions do you guys or gals have so far? Question. Mahmoud asked the question, what is the best modification structure, in your opinion, for the purpose of maximizing the value of the note to sell later to an investor? Well, if you're going to sell the note later to an investor, you have to think about what type of return they're looking for. So that's why I like to have things at 15%. Now, if you drop the interest rate to 7%, it'd still be a 13% return and then a 26% return annualized at first if you get that $5,000 down. I think you want to be at least 15% yield. Okay? Now, if you get something down to 12%, you're going to have to take a bit of a discount off of that. All right? Yes, interest only is okay, is fine considering the Dodd-Frank Act. Yes. Okay. Makes sense here. Require a deed in lieu for Dave asked a question. No, you don't. Dave. That's a good point. I would probably ask a deed in lieu in escrow. Okay. I would probably request that they sign a deed in lieu. That way, they stop making payments. I could just deed in lieu and then evict them at that point. So yeah. Okay, but to do a modification, you don't need to have a deed in lieu, all right? Okay? Donna asked the question, why 8% of fair market value? Can you explain how doing a loan mod payment? Yeah, 8%, I mean, just figure what the loan amount is times 8%. That's what your annualized payments are. Take your annualized payments and divide that by 12 months to get your monthly payment. 8% is the interest rate of the loan. If you have a house, and your interest rate is 4%, you take what you paid for the house, what your loan amount is, times 4%, that gets your annualized payments, divide that by 12 to get your monthly payment. Okay? The reason I do 8% interest rate, these people aren't going to be able to go out and qualify for loans right off the bat. All right? So why am I going to give them an interest rate of 4 or 5%, and they can't qualify for it in real life? Okay? Mahmoud asked a question, balloons, yeah. Don't they come into play when the note buyer assesses the value purchase? Yeah, you could put a 5-year balloon on these. What I'm seeing, Mahmoud, is I'm not seeing a lot of benefit for the 5-year balloons right now. You could add that in there if you wanted to, sure. All right? All right, so Steve asked the question, could you sell these in the secondary market after modification? Of course you could, Steve. You could definitely sell those. All right? Most people aren't going to buy a reperforming note, though, unless they've got 12 months of seasoning. That's why we kind of calculate with this 12 months here. That's a true reperforming. For 12 months, it's a performing note again. All right? And if you sold these, let's do this. Let's figure that calculation. Before I do, let me answer Donna's question here. Do you do this for 1 year term or longer? There's some difference between a deferment and a loan modification. Deferment is basically an agreement that you're saying, hey, if a borrower, if you will do this for 12 months, I will convert your loan. I will go ahead and do a permanent modification to this. But if you don't do this, if you messes up the first 12 months, it reverts back or stays the current loan that you're not paying to begin with. Okay? Steve asked a question. Steve Roberts asked a question. Balloons are not prohibited by Dodd-Frank. I don't think so. I'm not 100% sure. I don't know. Okay? All right. Now, one of the nice things, let's say you do this for a year. All right? Most of the time, you're going to get somewhere. Let's say you can get 90 cents on the dollar for your loans. All right? Come on. Come on, come on. Shalom, shalom. So after a year, you sell your performing loan at that point. It's at 8% for 90 cents on the dollar. Okay? So I don't know why my Excel is slowed down here, but 90 cents on the dollar of 305 comes to like 270. That's what you get paid. So 270 is what you get back in, and how much other cash have you gotten? Well, you've also, for the first year, you've got another $49,000. All right? To 270 plus 49, let's just say 50. Yeah. 50 plus 270, 320. You got 320,000 on your investment of what? 168. That's not a bad return on investment there. That's gross, isn't it, Steve? Mike Pomerantz has a question. The first example, the 8% is on the value of 78,000, but the UPB is only 49. Are there any other deficiencies that put the payoff over 78,000? Well, you got to realize they haven't made payments in a couple years. All right, so that adds up quickly. Plus attorney's fees, plus late fees. You're going to be the borrower's going to be over 78,000. Okay. Yes, you will. I won't send you a blank copy of this. If you could email me specifically, I'll send you. Actually, tell you what, I'll send this exact spreadsheet out to everybody that's on the call. All right, you got to be on the call to get this. All right, I've got that, and there will be a replay on this on YouTube. It'll be loaded by later today. Okay. So does everybody understand that? Let's see here. Okay. All right. Okay. Oh, Steve, I'm sorry. You are correct. No, that's a good point. 168,000 is right. Your investment is 120,000 on this. Well, I'm sorry. 120,000 would be what I paid for it. Okay. If you were to buy these from me at 168, because I got to make my money on this. So if you bought these at 55% from somebody, yes, and if you bought them at 120, of course. But I'm assuming if you guys were buying these from me, that's where your 168 would come in. Okay, with 120, it has to be higher. I'm not selling these at 120. Guys, I don't need your emails. I'm going to send an email out to what email you registered for the webinar. I'm not going to go through these one-on-ones and separate them all out. Okay? All right. Questions? This is why I like notes. You have multiple exit strategies and multiple things that can make you money. Okay? What other questions do you all have? Steve, I do offer notes on a regular basis. You'll be seeing that on every call going forward that we'll offer at least to have a profile of a note or two. I do have BPOs on these 5. So, yeah, if you want to buy all these, I will provide the BPOs. Okay? Let's see here. Terry, how would we get funding for the notes on these? You'd have private money. You may want to get an investor come along. Now, if you have money involved on this, a broad investor, take the returns and divide that by half. Okay? Because you're going to give half to the investor. If you put the money up, you want to take the returns and divide that by half. Okay? Michelle asked the question, when doing loan mods, do the laws change based on which state property is located in? No, if it's located in Florida, you go by Florida laws. That's why you want to have a licensed servicer or a licensed mortgage broker help you out with that. When do you buy vacant property notes? Mike asked the question. When do you buy vacant property notes, if at all? I do buy notes on, especially condos. I like condos to be vacant because I can get in and you can rent it out pretty fast. Okay? Okay. These are all non-performing, at least non-performing over a year. Okay. They're all non-performing. They've all had attorneys start the foreclosure process. Okay. The name of the BPO company is Valuation Vision, David. All right. Mahmoud asked a question, do you use any particular note investment management software at this time? If so, which one? Mahmoud, we're kind of progressing into NoteWorks, working on getting that stuff set up because we've got a lot of different notes, over 400 that we own, that we're transitioning to that. It's a little harder. We've been using Excel for the most part and tweaking some stuff. So it's just a matter of getting stuff and having the people take the time to get that transaction over, okay? All right. Scott, does the UPB include late fees, attorney fees? No, it does not include attorney fees, late fees. That UPB is unpaid principal balance only. Okay? Does not include the payoff. All right? Jason asked the question, what are some good servicing companies, and would the servicing fee be added in with the monthly payment, or would the servicing come out of my payments I am receiving? Well, if it's a performing note, your servicing costs drop dramatically to like $30 a month on a performing note. And that's going to be coming out of either the payment you receive net or you pay that separately. It's up to you. Okay? Performing notes, any company out there can do performing notes. I mean, it's a monkey can handle that. The non-performing side notes is where it's tricky. And every servicing company that's doing non-performing has been going through some growing pains. It's just the truth. I use Land Home Financial, which is now BP Law. They've gotten better over the last month and a half as they've added more manpower. Excuse me, but FCI is good on performing loans. BSI is also another company. Just it varies. What is the penalty? Ken asked a question. What is the penalty if a servicer messed up, example, not providing monthly statements, and I bought the note? Well, Ken, that you got to realize that's going forward now. That kicked in January 10th. So they have to start putting payments going forward now, not anything in the past. Okay? Prior to that, if they didn't provide monthly payments, you don't worry about that. But going now, you're going to have to check out the CFPB. I don't know exactly the fee for that stuff or the penalty. You can go and check that out. Okay? Bob asked the question, when wholesaling a small pool, like in your example, what method do you use to guarantee that the notes you are buying are supposed to be available to your wholesale buyer? Well, I like to own them or have them under contract before I go under contract with my buyer. That's the two big things. All right, let's see. Jack, you say if you know anyone who is buying of $3 million or more, give me a call. I'm funny when you talk about that later. Jack, send me your details on that. Mike has a question. Typically, how long to foreclose in Florida? Well, if it's non-contested foreclosure, the courts can do it in 100 days now. If it is contested, it takes about a year, a little bit over a year to do it. Sometimes it'd be faster. It's just you assume a year in Florida. That's why we threw that down there. It's for Florida costs. Okay. You're still going to have attorney's fees on that, Joe. Foreclosure process cheaper for us since foreclosure has already been started. Well, I mean, there's still attorney's fees on that. So, okay. Joe asked the question, how can I get a better understanding of note buying, book seminars? Joe, where are you located at? Go to weclosenotes.com. I teach workshops on it. I have a home study course if you're interested as well. We can talk offline about that. Okay. All right. Jack says, Jack DeWeese also offers up NoteSmith. I've heard good comments on NoteSmith as far as a software program for using notes. Joe asked the question, do we start foreclosure from the beginning as a new note investor? You know, Joe, you would step in exactly where the foreclosure process is started. You don't start all over again. Okay. The notes that will come out in Note Matchmaker will vary. I bought these 5 at 120. I'd sell them all at 168. Okay. I have a class, Joe, later on in Anaheim. Yes, in San Diego. Steve, yeah, 40 is roughly about yes, sir. It's about a year plus to foreclose, unless you get a deed in lieu or they're not contested. Okay. For pool evaluations, are you using any software? No, Dave. I just with pool evaluations, it depends how big the pool is. I still like to go down a loan level and figure it out. I mean, if the bank's going to evaluate it, I still like to go down and look at everything on my own numbers. Okay. Joe asked the question, what does the borrower still owe? UPV plus expenses? That's correct. Non-payments haven't been paid. Late fees, attorney's fees. Okay. They owe all that stuff still. Okay. Great questions, everybody. Hopefully I answered them all. What other questions do you have? Anything else regarding these deals? All right, I'll open it up if you guys are interested. Let's jump back on here into PowerPoint if there's any other questions on this. Are there any other questions regarding notes outside of these deals? Let's see here. Do I drive to see all these properties? Now, Gary, I don't have the time to fly out and drive and look at everything that I've owned. Okay, that's why I use a exterior BPO company to buy and take a look at things. Steve, I'll have the last payment date for the spreadsheet when I send it out. Mahmoud asked the question, what is your typical markup on any note you are selling wholesale or retail? Well, Mahmoud, I would like to try to make $5,000 on a wholesale deal. But as you saw on some of these, I may be only making $2,000 on some of the deal. Okay? It'll vary. If I can get up to 55% of value and it's a good deal still for the investor, great, I'll still do that. Sometimes it's just 5-10%. Sometimes less than that. Why am I selling these? Depreciating markets, Donna? No, I'm not. These are actually stable or appreciating, not depreciating. I just have an investor that's invested on these and wants to get these sold. That's all. So we're just looking to sell these. Yes, Mike, I have other notes for sale. Joe asked the question, am I seeing more notes now than last year? Yeah, I'm seeing quite a bit. Okay. Yeah. Jack DeWeese likes to type in that Google Earth helps you see the exterior of the property as well, but I still like to have somebody drive by, a local realtor drive by. Okay. No problem, Derek. It will be uploaded to YouTube later today. Derek, yeah, Derek, we are working on a few bugs with Note Matchmaker. We're just trying to create the best databases that you get shipped stuff sent out. So, no, I'm not going to Super Bowl, Dave. Although I heard tickets are dropping, I might want to look on StubHub, see if there's a cheap ticket, and then it might be worth the flight. Joe asked a question, is this the right investment for the investor that wants to invest outside of the state they live in? Joe, I think it is, just because the fact you've got different things, whether it's you've got multiple exit strategies there. And it depends on where you live if you want to find deals. If you're in California, you got to be paying attention. If you want to get a 30, 40% return on your money, you got to look at notes, I think. Okay? Valuation Vision is the company. They're out of actually just north of you in Carlsbad, Joe. If you'd like that, email me, and I'll be glad to forward you out their information. Okay? It's not that bad. I mean, full BPOs, they've got a whole variety of services that they provide. Okay? Mahmoud, I believe we're going to see a lot of notes. I've seen a lot already for the first quarter. A lot of the banks have been moving stuff out already that I've seen. I have actually a meeting scheduled with one of the vice presidents of Fifth Third Bank who wants to move some of their commercial stuff in Georgia and Florida and stuff like that. So, Kenny, I'm not going to make it a secret knock. I've got that class, and I'll be on the East Coast, so I won't be seeing you at secret knock this time. Okay? Gary asked the question, would you limit which states? Man, I had a lot of questions for him, which I love. This is great. Outlook is good. Mahmoud, Gary, let's see here. I would look at 5 states, all right? Maybe more so 5 to 10 markets in those 5 states, okay? I think Florida, you got to be looking at Florida just because of the volume stuff. Georgia's good, although Steve will tell you there's nothing in Atlanta for you to buy. Steve McConaughey wants everything in Atlanta. North Carolina, South Carolina, Texas, Arizona, Nevada, those are some pretty good states. Tennessee as well. Just depends on what what you like to do, okay? Joe asked the question, can you get notes in Southern California or Sacramento, Riverside? Not really, Joe. If you're going to be buying notes in California, you're going to be paying 90 cents on the dollar. It's not worth it, okay? Guys, please don't ask me questions on specific states if I got stuff available, all right? Randy, I'll be sending this list out to everybody that registered along with a link to it. Steve asked the question, how do you decide which exit strategy is the best? It varies. Maybe you have the idea, okay, that's why you got to be flexible a little bit, Steve. Obviously, hopefully, if you can sell as an REO and make the most amount that way. Like on this list, we look at the state, the spreadsheet, selling as an REO besides wholesaling, wholesaling is my example. If you sell it as an REO, great, but if, say, the borrower wants to work with you along the way, well, then you work with him along the way, okay? That's an extra strategy for you to sell later on. It's kind of the fuzzy math thing, but you know what the numbers are, it's going to change. Maybe it doesn't become an REO. Maybe it's a loan modification for 12 months and then you sell it off, okay? Maybe if you try to sell as an REO and it doesn't list, you got to rent it for a period of time, okay? It's a whole variety of things. Everybody's different about that, what they want to accomplish. Some of these it can change along the way. If your money partners may change on the way, okay? Joe, email me separately, not on here, for information, okay? I'm going through and deleting these questions as I answer them. Steve asked a question, what does Matchmaker speak of? If you go to notematchmaker.com, it's a website we're putting together to blast out individual deals to investors in their top 5 markets. Go to notematchmaker.com, Steve Roberts, and register your 5 states, okay? Mike, I haven't looked back between Q1 still going on this year, so I won't be able to answer that till the end of March. I've seen quite a bit. I'm going to ask the question. Have you been seeing increase in the sales price from banks? They're trying to inch it up some. So yeah, pricing has started to increase. Steve likes to confirm there's nothing for sale in Atlanta, so stay home. Illinois has some great markets in the Chicago area. Just want to make sure you're not dealing on the south side, or if you are on the south side, that you don't fall in the gangland. Okay. Gary asked the question, what is the cost of valuation visions? How accurate are they? Look, they have a whole ad hoc or a la carte menu that you can choose from, Gary. I'm not going to go through here and go through the listing. You can give them a phone call, reach out to them. Yeah, crazy in California, that's right. Gary, they have a variety. They can do drive-by BPOs or they can do desktop AVMs. It's cheaper for the desktop AVMs. I think it's like $15 an address. Okay. Joe, I do one-offs with investors. These would all be available on a one-off basis. These 5 individually at the 55% of value. Joe asked the question, do you try to work out the loan before you start foreclosure? So how long would you try before you start foreclosure? Look, I would try to get them to contact me within 60 days, but I'm going to start the foreclosure process basically, if it has already started, I'm going to keep going for it. Okay? If it isn't started, I'm going to start it because it's going to incentivize the borrower to call me. I'm not going to wait 60, 90 to 6 months to start the foreclosure process because that just doesn't make sense. You're just losing money that way. Okay? Gary, thank you very much. We'll see you in Baltimore. On value, Mike, are you going to have another call on valuation strategies for purchasing notes? Valuation is basically pulling comps, Mike, so I like to pull current comp CMAs. That's basically about it, okay? Your values and the stuff, let's look back at what we just ran off of, okay? Darnell asked the question, do you have the Bible of what investors are paying in different states? Not right now, Darnell. Everything changes too fast now. Joe, no. Joe asked a question, do hard money lenders work with investors on notes the same way that they work with investors on buying REOs? No, they don't. Okay? They don't. Joe, most hard money lenders don't invest in notes, will lend on notes. Okay? Steve asked the question, when do you decide which strategy to use? Well, if the borrower is willing to work with you and you want to hold it, you want to have everybody should have a portion of the portfolio that is reperforming loans because that's cash flow that's coming in. That helps pay the bills. Probably a portion of the portfolio that you're selling is REOs, okay? And probably a portion of your portfolio may be rentals, REO rentals, okay? Performing REOs you're selling. Maybe you're selling some notes. It's a whole mixed bag. Everybody has a different business plan, okay? And you have to figure your business plan for yourself. Nobody can call that for you. You know what I mean? I like holding low value notes on like condos because the rental return on them is good. Okay, I wouldn't do a loan mod on a condo unless I'd probably go ahead and foreclose it out because I'd want to get the rental returns on it. Okay, but with a single family home and somebody's been living in it for a while and they can bring the $5,000 to the table, I'm not going to be an asshole. I would probably do a loan mod for them. Okay, I'd probably to do that. I'm going to yield 30% the first year and 15% the year after. Well, hopefully within 6 months they're going to qualify for an FHA refinance, a 1023 loan, and they'll be gone. All right? So I make more money because then I get 95 to 97.5% of the value of the property then in 6 months. Okay? So just because I agree to do a loan mod doesn't always mean it's going to be a long-term loan mod for 5-10 years. Okay? Joe, each bank's different off the UPB, buddy. Each state's different, and the values and stuff like that. Great questions, everybody. Anything else? Donna did ask a question. Donna Perno actually emailed me a question or posted to my Facebook page talking about forced place insurance. And forced place insurance has changed with CFPB. Yes, you can still charge what you pay for forced place insurance, but it can't be the exorbitant cost that it used to be. And also, if it's cheaper for you to just pay the premiums on the insurance that the borrower's already had, you must pay that. Okay? Yes, you can still bill them for what you're paying for the forced place insurance, but it can't be the extreme amount that it used to be, Donna. Okay? Now, if you are interested in buying these notes, everybody, you can submit your offers, email your LOIs to my email. Just need an email. Don't need a fancy LOI sheet with your proof of funds. All right? Bank statements within the last 90 days or retirement statements. Email your LOI to me if you want to purchase those at 55% of the values I had on there. To Scott@weclosenotes.com. Okay. If you want to title it and say Monday Note 5, so I know exactly which ones it is. Monday Note 5, because we've got 5 notes we're working on here. If you want to buy the whole thing, tell me what you're paying the whole thing. Okay. If you want to just buy one, let me know, just one. Okay. Once we get that, I'll send out a contract to you. All right. And then I'll send the BPOs and loan files out afterwards. Okay. question. Terry, you're going to want to check with the hotel about the mastermind in Miami. I'm not sure about that. Usually I just leave the hotels open. It's cheaper for me in an event to do that, and it's actually oftentimes you get cheaper stuff on hotels.com. Okay? Guy, if you want to come to the Baltimore class that you've attended before, just drop me an email. Say, Guy, I'd like to, or say, Scott, I'd like to re-attend your applying for classes registered blank, blank, blank. Okay? You can email it to scott@weclosenotes.com as well. So, but there's the information. If you want to buy these, provide your proof of funds, scott@weclosenotes.com. We'll get a contract out, and then we'll follow up with a BPO and loan file for you. All right, everybody? The mastermind in Miami is March 30th through April 3rd, Mahmoud, Sunday through Thursday. Okay? Anything else, everybody? I thought I emailed it to you already, Mahmoud. Maybe it was just Vince. All right. Or Nick. Sounds good, everybody. Any other questions before we wrap? We're right over an hour now. I know you guys said I don't want to take too much of your day. But if you're interested, drop me an email. Princess is just FedEx. Quiet. There will be an email link that goes out to everybody that's on the call here with the spreadsheet and the link to the spreadsheet and the link to the YouTube recording. All right? Shh. Princess, quick. Got a good guard dog over here. Anyway, if that's it, everybody, we will wrap it up for the day. Thanks to everybody for the great questions. Thanks for being on the calls. And we will talk to you all later, everybody. Bye.